Good morning. I would like to call to order the Pasco County Board of Commission 10 o'clock meeting of September 5th at 2023. At this time, please silence all electronic devices and mute your phones. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
O merciful Creator, your hand is open wide to satisfy the needs of every living creature. Make us thankful for your loving providence and grant that we, remembering the account that we must one day give, may be faithful stewards of your good gifts. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Here.
District 2, Commissioner Wakeman.
Present.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Here.
District 4, Commissioner Bradford is not present.
Excused.
District 5, Chairman Mary Young.
Here. Now is the time for public comment. Citizens are given an opportunity to comment on any current or future agenda item coming before the board and on other business under the board's purview. Today's public comment will be handled as follows. First, we will take public comment from those who are here in person. Then we will take public comment from those who are pre-registered for a WebEx link and currently on queue. We request that when you address the board, comments are not directed personally against a commissioner or team member, but rather directed at the issues. This provides mutual respect between the board members and the public. After stating your name and address for the clerk, a 3-minute timer will be activated. After 2 minutes, a single beep will indicate you have 1 minute left. When your time is up, 2 beeps will sound, and you should close your comments. WebEx participants will be disconnected automatically when their time is up. Mr. Clerk, do we have anyone signed up for public comment?
We do, Mr. Chairman. First one is Stephen Thomas. If you would, please, sir, if you give the name, your name and address for the record.
Stephen Jonas, 1257 Middlefield Drive, Newport Richey. Commissioners, you might remember I was here 2 weeks ago in order to get a 2-week continuance on an order to demolish. I'm here again just to get a little bit more time. As you can understand, there's been a hurricane that's come into the county, caused some flooding. I've submitted all the documentation to the county attorney's office. I've submitted everything to the building department. I'm just waiting on the response. The 2 weeks ends essentially today, so if I can just get another 2 weeks for them to make their decision. The only difference that's changed is we've had some flooding in the area. I have 2 duplexes in Port Richey that are flooded. I now have 4 families that are homeless. This property's in a flood zone next. Didn't flood. I could put a family in this home if the county would just let me rehab it. That's all I have. If I get some help.
Okay. Does the board want to comment this or to take it under committee reports? All right. We'll discuss it in the committee reports. I had met with staff on it too.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next up, Liz Molinari.
Hello, good morning. My name is Liz Molinari. I live at 6905 Signal Cove Drive down in Hudson on the water there in the trailers. I purchased this property back in 2018. Back in February of 2018, I made the contract for the home. I lived in Venice, Florida at the time. So that weekend on the 24th, we drove up to check on our property. I have a picture. This was on the front door of the property that I was buying. There's a stop work order from Pasco County. Okay, I called up the realtor, I called up the county, I asked what was the stop work order for. They said there had been a building attached behind that building that needed to come down. Everything else was fine. I purchased the property. 30 days later, I realized that I live next door to a marina who abuses county land. I asked him to not park his boats on the county land because he was blocking traffic and running over our water mains and whatnot. He told me he lived here 30 years and he can do whatever he wants. He still is parking his boats on county land, changing oil, under no parking signs. But in the meantime, he sent code enforcement to my home every week for the next 7 weeks. At one point, I asked the code enforcement agent if his house was up to code. He then threatened me for 45 minutes, sitting in his car, making me stand out in the heat. For me, he was calling law enforcement on me because I had just threatened the law enforcement agent. I'm talking, it was the 6th time code enforcement was at my house in 6 weeks. Come to find out that everything they want me to remove is nothing that I've built and has been there for more than 10 and 15 years. Come to find out the building they want me to remove now that I've just demolished the week of the hurricane is this exact building that their tag is on. They know that this is not a good building. They know by looking at the house. I have pictures of every other home on my block with the same type of building. Why I would not have thought it was an illegal building when the county told me everything was fine. I came to the board meeting, the Board of Construction's meeting in 2018 in September. I was not on the deed to my house. The construction board told me I could not speak for my husband, even though I had a certified letter from my husband stating that I could speak for him because he had just gotten a new job. They wouldn't let me speak. They told me we were found guilty. 30 days later, my son was in a traumatic accident on a basketball court at St. Leo University. He got a traumatic brain injury. We've spent the last 4 years rehabilitating him. We spent the first year out of the house. I came back to sell the house. Now the building department has had me tear everything down. Fine, we're tearing it down. I'm trying to get into my other home. I've lost tens of thousands of dollars in the last 3 weeks trying to close on another property, getting this up to code. I have one piece left that I can't take down because I'm waiting for a custom order because my house is exposed, and the building department will not let me comply today so that I can get you guys to reassess the fines so that I can close on my other property by the end of the week because I cannot get financed. I know I have only 18 minutes left. 15 seconds left, but it's been a very trying. I'm sorry.
What was the address again?
6905 Signal Cove Drive.
6905 Signal Cove. Who's this?
Mine. Okay.
And the marina,
Not
I have
marine
pictures,
boat.
there are rotten boats in the marina, sitting there. And the building department told me the other day that they are reactive, not proactive, because I said, do you see that the buildings along my whole block? And they told me that I needed to turn them in, that they could do nothing. So I'm supposed to turn on my fellow neighbors, because the building department didn't want to do their job the very first time they were there back in 2018, when I would have either purchased this property without that building, or would have at least been aware when they were there. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. And if you would be, Rob Marin, Rob Marin, our head assistant county administrator, come forward to talk to you about permitting.
Okay, thank you.
And then,
Oh, they also made me get after the fact permits back in April when they could have just told me to go see Chris Main and Tuve Connolly because there's a $200,000 lien against my home right now because of the fines. And instead they made me spend $5,000 on a building engineer, a survey, and permits, when they could have just said, Ms. Molinari, you need to go see this department and figure it out from there. But they took my $4,000 this summer and are still fining me every day. Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Linda Farmer.
I have photos. Can I give them to somebody to put them up for me?
Move to receive and file.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You can bring them up to the clerk.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Farmer, 18751 Coach Street. I don't know if I'm supposed to be sworn in or not.
No, it's
I haven't
okay.
been sworn. Okay. I was contacted through social media. I've been in front of you guys before. I'm from the Shady Hills Civic Association. For the people over in Hudson on a property that's Colony Road Project LLC. First, I want to say I'm not here to beat you guys up. I believe this is 100% the builder and the construction crew that is on this piece of property that is destroying this piece of property. There's homeowners in the area that are scared to come in here and talk to you guys because they've been threatened by the people that are working on this piece of property. Everyone behind this property, their yards are flooded. They have hit an aquifer. The aquifer's been running for over 4 weeks now. I've been told that there was an old Argentinian well that was illegally put into this piece of property 30, 40 years ago that's attached to an aquifer system. The top part is the plan where that green circle is, where the park's supposed to be. They dug a giant hole out and buried everything into the middle of the piece of property. Cars, debris, everything. I'm going to show you some pictures of the trees that they burnt down and cut up and buried underneath of the property. We have 3 size football fields, if not bigger, and probably about 20 to 40 feet deep in certain areas where water's flowing out of the bottom of the ground. This beautiful green water. This is not runoff water. This is a piece of property that an aquifer has been hit. And everybody around there, they've got 2 pumps on the property. You can change that picture at this point now and go to the next one if you want to. When I first got to this piece of property, there was no barrier around this property at all. None. There was no barrier. In the very top picture when I came by, the very first time, the second picture, there was no barrier around this property at all. After I called code, they came out and put a barrier around the entire piece of property. However, it needs an 8-foot fence around it now. There's children that play out in the, these are kids that aren't sitting inside the houses. They're not playing PlayStation. They're out riding their bikes. They like to climb hills. I'd like one of those pictures, the one number 4, number 5 with the ravine that shows the huge ravine. The ravines that these kids can walk up on and get down in. The water that's being pushed around, it's just being diverted. There's water trucks showing up, they're loading up water, they're hauling it away.
What was the address of this again?
It is the Colony Road project on Colony between Hudson Road and Highway 52. I went before and after the hurricane. Before the hurricane, these people's yards were flooded, and after the hurricane, their yards were even flooded. You have free-flowing water in a 40-foot depth ravine that's around neighborhoods with children playing, driving the little four-wheelers. This property needs to be shut down. I'm asking you to go red tag this piece of property. There is no paperwork on this site. None. Hasn't been since day one. Code enforcement was thrown off the property by these people who probably half of them are illegal. They're living in a trailer next door. They work 24 hours a day under dark, hiding everything that they can possibly hide. Someone's going to get hurt, not to mention we need to stop the water from flowing out of the aquifer. But somebody's going to get hurt. We have started with 2 little holes. You can see the beautiful green water. Now they've got another pump that they've put on the piece of property that's pumping it into now a third giant hole that they've dug. I just need someone to care. Y'all are better than this. Pasco's better than this. I don't know what kind of rules and regulations are set down for the builders who hire these people that come out. I don't think we should leave it up to the people that dug the hole to fix the hole. I think EPA, Army Corps of Engineers, when something like, look, this is what I'm talking, can you put that one back up? This is what this property underneath of the ground is full of. They chopped the trees up and buried it 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet underground. So when it starts decaying, the land's gonna start moving around and people's houses are gonna start falling apart. I am begging you right now, I have no dog in this fight other than I am a water preserver. You know that. I love my water in Florida. I love my well water in Florida. This is something that needs to be brought to your attention. Unfortunately, your code guy keeps getting thrown off the property by whoever these people are. So maybe we need to send a sheriff over there and get everybody off the property and put a fence up and then get somebody over there to fix the problem. Am I out of time?
You are, but that's okay.
Okay.
Linda, what we'll do is, and we talked last week about this.
Yes, we did.
And I sent
And I
code out to
appreciate
go do
that.
it.
I know you were busy with the storm and everything, and I appreciate your time. I did get 2 people from the community that are going to show up here today. There are going to be a couple people on WebEx that are afraid. These people told them to keep their mouth shut. Stay out of their way and leave them alone. And that's not fair for the people that are their houses are being flooded because of the negligence of these contractors. I need some help from you guys. We need to do something about it today.
So Rob Marin again, I need you to come up, and Alex from the Sheriff's Office, if you get involved with this as well, listen to what was said, and maybe there's even something as well as going out there to help code, to protect them, but even find out what threats were actually made.
And I'm going to ask Mr. Mariano that at this point, I think even if the county has to go out and put a fence around this property to protect these kids from climbing up these berms and God forbid, somebody getting hurt, and charge it to the guy. I mean, this guy needs to be shut down. Whoever this guy is who's hired these contractors that are absolutely, they took a beautiful piece of property and destroyed it.
All right, so I've got Alex from the Sheriff's Office over here. He's going to listen in. And Rob, if you would, go to the side room and
Appreciate
just
your time.
discuss it through. Thank you.
What is the address?
It's at the intersection of Colony and 52.
Is that the Dunkin' Donuts site? That's the only thing I see in Project Pipeline on
I'm not sure.
that road.
You want to check it out?
I think it was like townhomes we're going to put out there or something. All right, anyone else in the public? Signed up?
Next signed in, Kristen Quintrell.
Hi, Kristen Control, 32855 East St. John Drive. So I live in Watergrass, and they have this Vita Way, Dupree East plan, and that's great. It's supposed to be like thousands of homes, apartments, retail, which is all exciting. The problem is, right now, the only way in is going to be down Overpass and down Watergrass Parkway. So over the next 1, 2, 3 years that they're building this, we're talking tens of thousands of construction trucks just coming in. And as you know, we just passed in Watergrass the no 3-truck ordinance because they were demolishing all of our roads. Old Road Road is like covered in potholes and all that stuff. And I feel like now, for the next 2 years, they're going to go and destroy Watergrass Parkway. So what our whole community is just begging and pleading is that we fast track extending Watergrass Parkway to hit River Glen, and then also build out wells from Curly to Handcart so that the only way in isn't just down Watergrass Parkway, which right now is about 500 feet, and it dead ends into a cow field, and the only people that go down that road is the people that live here. So if you could just, and if you can't extend wells right now, you can't fast track that, if you could just make it a construction truck route, like off of Curly, off of Handcart, anything, because I'm telling you, the next 2 years, it's just going to be thousands and thousands of trucks coming in our community, dropping nails and debris and whatever, buckling Watergrass Parkway, doing the exact same thing that happened to Oak Ridge Road to Watergrass Parkway. So I know it's already in the plans to build out wells and to extend Watergrass to River Glen. We're asking that you maybe do this first, so that at least there's like 4 ways in, and that the only way to build this massive undertaking isn't that. I'm also asking, because I know that there's a school in these plans, that for once we please don't just bottleneck it to 1 lane. Right now the plans are that it's 1 lane of traffic going into, I don't know if you're familiar with Pinecrest, but basically State Road 54 becomes Pinecrest parking lot at 3 o'clock. And so this is the same thing that's gonna happen on Watergrass Parkway. It's just gonna bottleneck, so we're asking you widen it as well. And then finally, I know that Watergrass is part of the VOPH, like master roadway plan, all this stuff. We're very much a part of it. Everything that's being built around that is part of VOPH, they all have these multi-use golf cart paths. And for whatever reason, when they built ours, they only built them 10 feet. And I know recently you guys passed it to 12 feet. So you're building the business town center, the park, all these things, and nobody will be able to get on a golf cart to actually get to any of it through Watergrass because we have 10-foot sidewalks, and I guess we can't ride on them anymore. So we're asking that, because I know south of Watergrass Parkway, they're already doing the 12-foot, that you just extend our multi-use paths to 12 feet so that we can actually get to and from everything in the VOPH, the super park, the business center, everything's gonna be built, that we actually can get to it right now because our community is just citing everyone left and right for renting golf carts. So. Anyways, just the roads like everyone else. I love you guys are building everything, but if you could just put in roads, more roads, widen roads, that would be great.
Okay. Commissioner Oakley?
We've been looking into this, and also we've been visiting with engineers with trying to work out plans to do this. As far as your HOA has to handle, because Watergrass was never built for golf carts, to answer that, and it has to be a 12-foot path, and HOA has to take care of that, not the county. That's a HOA problem. And then the roadway and all, we've had, I don't know, is Nick here? Nick? Maybe you come talk to this lady about what's going to be done in the near future to help alleviate some of this road issues that we're having in Watergrass, which we've been getting a lot of emails for just this same thing. So I know they're working at it. I know they're putting a red light out at Tankart. But that's only a temporary fix.
They did that already,
It's
yeah.
a temporary fix.
Well, it's the fire department too, because they've been stuck.
The long-range plan for overpass coming through there, it was always planned to go through there. That's nothing new. It was always planned to come through. When it came through, though, we probably should have had that road that goes on and hits Fairview Heights Road and goes on to Cossack and 301. If we could have had those worked out at the same time, that traffic would be going straight through.
Yeah, because right now, just last week, the fire department was stuck. It took them 11 minutes to get to the car crash because it was during school hours and overpass was completely backed up. They had to hop the median. It's just, and that's someone's life on the other end as well. So
we understand.
Okay, so why don't I get Nick, if you would come on up and talk with her further, make sure we get all the details right. Thank you.
Excuse me, Amanda Avila.
Hi, my name is Amanda Avila. I live at 13010.
I'm sorry, just a little bit louder, ma'am.
Amanda Avila, 13010 Moose Lane, Hudson, Florida. I'm here today to discuss negligence regarding the construction site at Fairwinds and Colony Road. You guys, I don't know who has kind of dropped the ball. As Linda said, we have about 30-foot canals just open to the public right now. They finally put up fencing Sunday, about 1.5 foot tall, plastic fencing, only in some parts though. So if a child goes over there, there's no telling because they've been hiding everything since day one. Everything looks like a flat piece of land, there's berms. So if a child goes over that, that's it. Everybody's yards are flooded. We've already been forgotten back there for decades. And yet, again, we're being flooded out again. We don't have access to emergency services. This isn't going to make it any better. We don't have access to, code enforcement can't do anything. The sheriff's department won't come out. They're chasing us off this land every time we try and take pictures or show. I feel for the future homeowners of those sites. Every single one of them is a guaranteed sinkhole. Every single one of them. It is about 6 foot of debris, mulch, trash, covered by sand. Yet we have problems with insurance in this state, and you're selling people homes like that are just going to fall on the ground. At the end of the day, I mean, all of us basically have no choice but to be flooded and forgotten about like we have for decades back there, and it's getting a little old. We would just like that whole area fenced off to some degree for safety at least, and those people held accountable for what they've done back there. They've had zero protections, they've had zero permits. There's canals built back there now. There's no safety. I mean, at the end of the day, the elderly, the disabled, the lower class, the lower middle class, they can't make these meetings. Most of the time, they can't even afford the gas to get out here or to any of these meetings from that area. But that's what everybody depends on, is us not being able to speak up. So I would like the county to prove us all wrong and actually fight for some of us back there and change things and hold these construction companies accountable for the destruction that they're doing.
And if you would, if you want to talk to Rob Merritt a little bit more, they just had a meeting, if anyone else is here with the same item, we started looking at it last week. Obviously, the
sir.
hurricane slowed us down a little bit, but
Yes, sir.
we will look at it. As far as any permits not being pulled, we'll definitely be on to that. Sheriff's Office, Alex, thank you for going to meet with them as well. They'll get together to make sure we
Yes,
look
sir.
at this thing real hard.
No, and I appreciate you guys listening to us and taking the time to hear us out
Okay.
today. It's been
Okay.
a lot, so thank you.
Thank you.
Pamela Avila?
It's the same subject.
I know.
I am Pamela Avila, 13010 Moose Lane, Hudson, Florida. I'm also speaking of the Colony Road project. I'm going to start with, they cut down every tree, even the protected trees. They had trees that were roped off or taped off, cut them down, ripped them out. There is flowing water from the aquifer. My sister's house is directly behind what they're building right there. Her husband is the one that was threatened by the worker. They were flooding my sister's yard. The water was so high, it was going into her pool, which is elevated. And my brother-in-law went out there and is talking to the guy. My sister and I were standing right there, and he's saying, you guys cannot keep pumping this water into this little tiny pond. You've flooded my yard. And he says, buddy, your shed's on my property. I'd drop this if I were you. You need to drop this now. You're going to be sorry. And, well, we didn't drop it because I'm loud. And I love my Florida. I love my property. I've lived here for 28 years, Pasco County worker, Pasco County 4-H leader, and this is breaking my heart that they've tapped into this aquifer and no one is stopping them. My well is already having problems. In the past month, I've had to change out my filters, so has my neighbor Jeff and Lorraine across the street 4 times. I haven't had to change my filters in 7 years. 4 times in a month. We've had to change them out. The rotten egg smell's getting worse and worse and worse, and like I said, I've got a filter system, and that is all in the last month. And so something is correlated with this. My well's only 75 foot deep. I know because I had it dug 5 years ago. And so I know how deep it is. So people with deeper wells might not already be having issues, but I am. And I'm 2 streets over from this, so I can't imagine how people are closer are having problems. I know they've hit lime rock because they're digging it up. And I used to work for a sinkhole company. That's sinkholes. So they've got to do something. Somebody has to get out there. And I appreciate you hearing me, and I appreciate you taking action on this.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes those who have signed up in person.
Is there anyone on WebEx?
Yes. Lee Staples.
No?
Lee Staples is not showing up online. Angela Sissi. Kara Lindeman.
No?
Kendra Langmaid.
Kendra?
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am.
All right.
Name and address for the record, please.
Yep. Kendra Langmaid, 32712 Summerglade Drive, Wesley Chapel. So I have sent an email to all of you, and I've had a few responses back. But again, I am speaking on terms of watergrass. So this Vita's Way that was approved for the use of overpass, Old Bridge to watergrass is going to be a problem for us. So my husband and I, we do bike our children to school. They go to Imprep there, right off of Curly. And on a daily basis, it's taking your life into your hands coming out of this neighborhood. So we live off of Ingleston. There's no stop sign. There's no stoplight. And people use that stoplight at Curly and Overpass as their starting lane for their racetrack. They take off from there and they race to the merge so that they can get ahead of somebody else. There's been multiple accidents there, to which my husband and I have walked past many a times. We need to get serious about looking at all this development. We love that we're adding things and accessibility and things like that, but where are the kids going to go to school until those schools are built? How are you going to prevent walkers and bikers from getting struck by cars due to all these racetrack driving skills? How's the fire department going to get to a fire when there's nowhere for people to pull up? What are we going to do when we have accidents constantly and now you hit a kid who's biking home from school because there's nothing to stop people from racing down Overpass Road? I understand that there's going to be a stoplight put in at Watergrass and Overpass, and I'm asking for that to be done sooner rather than later. We've got school traffic for multiple schools. You've got, again, our fire trucks. And we've almost been hit in the crosswalk before, even at Curly that does have a light. So how can we do this so that it's thoughtful and it's not just to generate more tax revenue from new houses being built? We need wells to be extended, and we need construction traffic going through there. Even construction traffic coming through these days comes through, again, Mach 90, and there's nobody stopping them. There's nobody taking them, holding them accountable. This morning, the Pasco County Sheriff was nice enough. They were out here and they were pulling over cars. But again, they can't be out there every day. So how do we slow down the traffic on Overpass so people start thinking about the people that live in this community? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on WebEx?
Yes, we have Paola Stewart. Paola Stewart. We're seeing you, but it appears there we go. There we go.
And if you would, Paola, your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Paola Stewart. My address is 13036 Moose Lane in Hudson. I'm also interested in discussing with you guys the project in Fairwinds and Colony. Quite concerning, although very excited about development and improving our county. Also quite worried about these developers coming into this nature coast and disregarding nature entirely. There was no thought, no proper steps taken to relocate the animals that lived in that area. We have had visits into our yard for coyotes and deer and a lot of animals that don't know where to go. The way every single tree was removed is heartbreaking for us and any future generation. And now the concern of the aquifer being hit and trying to conceal it and not doing anything long term to properly reestablish the closure of that aquifer and protect our wells and our water resources for centuries to come. So I'm hoping that we can get you guys inspired, especially with the initial prayer from this group, that was a gift given to us by God, and we are squandering it away in the name of money, which is quite concerning. So I hope that you guys are able to step in for us and close that project, and every other contractor that has no intention of respecting what this nature coast is about. This coast is about taking care of our resources, understanding what natural resources and the importance that they have in our family, in our future, in our present, in our future. And my son is quite concerned about the welfare of the animals that were not relocated. And he's 9 years old. So there's something there for all of us to learn. And I hope you guys can help us get this shut down. And every single contractor that's not in line to move away from here. We are not interested in this type of development. At least I'm not. I'm interested in development, understanding, and respecting the resources. Thank you.
Thank you. And Rob, I hope we're going to take a look at doing a cease and desist order and find out what's going on. Get the tree experts out there, find out how many trees were taken down, and let them pay the appropriate tree mitigation fund as well. Thank you.
Madison Bello, not showing up online. Is there any others online? Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so nothing else on web. Anyone else from the public want to speak to anything to the county commission? Okay, we'll close public comment and very happily move to a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners honoring Billy Brown for his dedication and service to the citizens of Pasco County. Mr. Brown, would you come forward? If you can.
Resolution number 23-188, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, honoring Billy E. Brown for his dedication and service to the citizens of Pasco County. Whereas Billy E. Brown, a lifelong resident of Pasco County, attended Pasco High School and served in the United States Coast Guard and Korean War. And whereas Billy E. Brown began working with the Withlacoochee River Electric Cooperative on October 16, 1956, when the cooperative served only 2,996 members and employed 40 people. Today, WREC is the third largest electric cooperative in the nation, serving over 250,000 members. And whereas during his tenure, the cooperative weathered both rewarding and tough times. In 1985, he formed a for-profit entity named Iradco and brought thousands of jobs to the cooperative service area and built 2 industrial parks, 1 Pasco Center and 1 Hernando Center. The cooperative also formed the WREC Cares Operation Roundup program and provides financial assistance to families who have suffered a catastrophic event. And whereas Billy E. Brown founded the WREC Educational Foundation, which awards 110 college scholarships valued at $12,000 each to high school seniors on an annual basis. To date, the foundation has awarded 2,414 scholarships valued at over $18.5 million. And whereas Billy E. Brown is not only a well-respected leader at the local, state, and federal levels, but also a vocal advocate for the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association, and has received many outstanding awards, including the Association's Regional Award for Outstanding Service, the Association's Paul Revere Award, the Association's President's Award, the Association's Cooperative Purpose Award, the Association's William E. Matson Democracy Award, the Association's National Community Investment Service Award, the Dade City Chamber of Commerce Richard Tombrick Lifetime Achievement Award, and the 2022 Pasco County Economic Development Council Leadership Award. And whereas Billy E. Brown has served on the Seminole Electric Cooperative's Board of Trustees for more than 48 years, and on the Florida Rural Electric Cooperative Association, and served with various not-for-profits such as Rotary and United Way. And whereas Billy E. Brown retired from the Withlacoochee River Electric Cooperative in April 2023 after 67 years of loyal and dedicated service. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, the said board hereby honors Billy E. Brown for his dedication and service to the citizens of Pasco County and congratulates him on his retirement, done and resolved in regular session with quorum present and voting this 5th day of September 2023.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Thank you very much. You can't imagine what a joyous and rewarding experience it has been for me to work for the co-op, its board of trustees, its members, and a highly loyal and dedicated group of employees with unusual talents for 67 years. Early on as manager of the cooperative, there was an extreme downturn in the economy in Florida. Construction was our only industry then, and when it came to a halt, we saw many people losing their jobs, their incomes, and the ability to provide for their families. We decided then that we wanted to be more than just another utility supplying quality electric service. We wanted to do some things to improve the quality of life in the people of our service area, and thought that we probably was one of a few that had the wherewithal to do those kind of things. We presented a proposal to our board of trustees. They unanimously approved it. The net result is all the great things the cooperative has done in the later years. It's also been my pleasure to work with this Board of Commissioners and those before you to be helpful in projects presented by the county that was to the benefit of the people of Pasco County, my home county, lifetime home county. And I thank you very much.
Okay. We thank you.
We'll have to give him back for sure. Mr. Brown, we want our photo.
But
We can go to.
Yeah, let's talk for a minute first.
he can move back up.
Mr. Brown, we're going to bring you up for a picture, but we want to talk for a minute. So while you're sitting there, we just want to make some comments to how great you are and your company is. Commissioner Oakley?
Mr. Brown, you've been an icon in our community, and I can say for a fact you've been a true friend to me and my family for many, many years. My father and all my family that has been here in this community and worked so tirelessly to make this community better. And I appreciate everything you've done toward making it a better community for all of us to live in. Jobs have always been important. When I graduated from high school, same as when you graduated from high school, if you weren't involved in citrus here in this community, you didn't have a job to come back to. You had to go find a job somewhere else. Well, that's changing. And part of that is due to what you've done with WREC and your RADCA and spent the time in your life. And even Withlacoochee is going to shine in the near future because we've already got 2 businesses there and another business coming there, and it's just going to make it back to what it used to be. It's going to be a bigger community in the future, and it's going to offer services, schooling, and everything in that neighborhood, which we lost a lot of it when Commerce shut down. They shut down 64 years ago, and that Withlacoochee area has been really hurt ever since then. They, and 80 years ago, they actually were one of the largest communities here in Pasco County, and we're going to bring them back and give them the services and a beautiful place to live and work in that same community. And Mr. Brown's done a lot in that that effect. As far as Boys and Girls Club, he had very instrumental in helping get them going and different things in that community that actually is going to make it be what it's going to be here in the near future, because its vision for the future is very nice. We're going to bring jobs in. That's what he kind of tried to do with URADCO and did that in several areas. But we want those jobs to be in Pasco County and not some other county. And we want people to live and work here in our county and play in our county. So all the things we stand for as a board and what we want best for our community will actually start up in that LaCoochee area in the near future. So we thank you for all you've done. I appreciate your friendship.
All right. Commissioner Whitman.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Brown, I sit here as a proud co-op kid. My dad just retired after 45 years and 3 months of service with the co-op. And Brian Holmes, his dad, my aide, Danny retired. His dad, Danny Holmes, retired 39 years. 39 years with the co-op. And because of you and this co-op, it provided life. It provided a way for my dad and other families to have a family and live a life here in Pasco County that otherwise might not have been. So I owe a great deal of my success because of what the co-op provided my family through the years and the jobs that it created. And I honestly don't believe my brother, sister, and I would be where we are today if it weren't for the foundation of the co-op and what it brought to our county, what it brought to Dade City, and to so many folks here. So thank you for your service, and thank you for your investment in Pasco County.
Commissioner Starkey.
Well, Mr. Brown is an icon, and even though you're retiring, I'm sure that we are going to feel your presence in this community still. I think I've known you for about 20 years now, so that's a real honor for me to have had interactions with you and your wonderful staff and your company, and what a legacy you have left, especially for those in LaCoochee in that area of this county. And I'm just really proud to know you, and my goodness, you have had a long career, a very long career, so good for you. Thank you so much for all you've done.
Okay. Mr. Brown, I'd like to say too, what you've done for this county has been amazing. As you said, not just a regular co-op. You know, when you look at, to taking setting up the URADCO and to build a course like Lake Chavita, that complex, to bring that back to life, One Pasco Center, and all the economic development motions that you make to make sure that as we're looking at things as a commission, we've had several conversations through the years about, well, if you do this, we're going to be affected by that. This would be better if you tried it this way. That type of back and forth cooperation helped this commission and many other commissions too make the right decisions every step of the way. And it was always easy to do because I knew if you were saying it, it was true. And if it was, your push was to get it, was for the betterment of the county. So it made it real easy to work with you. Your team leadership is amazing. The workers are fantastic. I've got relatives that work for you too. I've got kids I know that have benefited from the scholarship you've done, which has been absolutely amazing. And when we needed you most, as far as, let's say, for the hurricane that just went through this past week, I talked about looking at shutting the water down. We're going to have more conversation in the future about shutting electric down for that area, just when that storm's coming in, so it's easy to fix and take it down. But your crew, at a moment's notice, was out there summoned, and your crew was out there shutting the water down, making it safer for people every step of the way. And that didn't even end there, but later on, when the businesses wanted to open the next day, your team's out there working through the night. And the sheriff's office out there guiding them through, protecting them as well, to making sure the businesses were able to open up. And I think every business that wanted to open up was open up the next day. That's the type of thing for economic development, participation, and like you say, constituent service for your economics. Your service has been phenomenal, and taking care of your customers is tremendous. And anybody as a with LaCoochee customer for all my years in Pasco County, I've been lucky enough to be with LaCoochee, so I get to see it direct as well. Very, very few do we, every time there's a storm, all the storms we've ever had, I lose power maybe for seconds, if that. Not only all that for the electrical stuff that goes on in the house, but the service you've done is just tremendous. And your whole team, it's going to carry on for many years to come. If you could, I know you get a big entourage here with you. But if we could trouble you, could you come to the center here? We want to have you sit right here and have everybody stand around you, so we can take a nice picture.
And the main board stay here.
Yeah, the board will stay, the board will stay up here, but if we could help him get to the center here, bring everybody else around him, to really take a nice picture. So everybody from, with Gucci for Mr. Brown, please come forward. Come up right in here. Come on, Ronnie, let's go. Ronnie Dees, come on. Bring everybody up.
Then we have the team. There they come. There they go. It's like people go to work there and they never. It's interesting. Oh my goodness.
We could take some people back up here if you want. You want to come up here or come on up here?
They just said y'all can go up.
Here, Mr. Goody, you guys want to come?
Y'all want to go up.
Mr. Brown sure knows how to fill up a room.
If anyone wants to come on this side.
Slide down.
Okay, couple of you-
Slide down. Slide down.
Okay, go down there.
Good?
There's someone slide over here.
Okay.
Folks here first, and then this camera, and then this will be the third. So right here. Okay, one more here.
This might be the most involved.
I think I have everyone. And then the third. Thank you.
Is it possible to do all of this with family?
Yes.
Do you want the commissioners in it or out of it? Oh, no, that's fine. No, that's great.
We're allowed. Whatever you want, whatever you want. We're with you.
I'll take the rest of the night off.
Okay, folks, right here. Perfect.
Okay, right here. Perfect.
Okay, congratulations.
Next resolution, RS2.
Resolution number 23190, a resolution by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners thanking the Pasco County Airport Zoning Commission for their dedication and service. If members of the representatives could come forward. Whereas on June 6, 2017, the Pasco County Commissioners, pursuant to Chapter 333, Florida statutes, established the Airport Zoning Commission to review and make recommendations to the board regarding airport zoning and land use compatibility regulations as required by Chapter 333 to be adopted by the board. And whereas the Airport Zoning Commission was initially composed of Nathan Coleman as the representative of the Zephyr Hills Municipal Airport, Dennis Baker of Tampa North Aero Park, and Spencer Brass of Pilot Country Airport, all of which are privately owned public use airports. And whereas the Airport Zoning Commission first met on November 15th, 2017, and whereas on October 12, 2022, the board expanded the Airport Zoning Commission to include Jim Bunn as representative of Hidden Lake Airport, a privately owned private use airport. And whereas using their experience as pilots and airport managers, the members reviewed drafts of proposed regulations and provided comments to the county. And whereas the work of the commission spanned multiple years, during which the Airport Zoning Commission held numerous meetings, workshops, and 2 public hearings. And whereas because of the expertise and dedication of the members, Pasco County staff was able to draft well thought out and appropriate airport zoning and land use compatibility regulations specific to Pasco County and consistent with Chapter 333. And whereas the Airport Zoning Commission completed its work on May 15, 2023, and made its final recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners to adopt the proposed airport zoning and land use compatibility regulations. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby thanks Nathan Coleman, Spencer Brass, Jim Bunn, and Dennis Baker for their outstanding service to the county by using their expertise and knowledge to assist the county in developing the airport zoning and land use compatibility regulations. Done and resolved in regular session with quorum present and voting this 5th day of September 2023.
You have a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Commissioner Starkey.
Well, I know this was a lot of hard work, but it was necessary to protect our citizens and our investments. And I am just grateful for all the time you guys put in to help make this successful. It's something that I think we're a little behind on, and I'm glad that we have it now. So thank you so much for all the time you put in, and to our staff as well. They worked very hard on this one.
Okay. Anything else?
I'll just say, coming in on the tail end of it, it's good to see this thing coming to a landing, peaceful resolutions. Work with there's a trial by fire and understanding on my part, Spencer, and I appreciate you taking time to meet with me and Denise and Elizabeth Blair and everybody working together. So congratulations to you guys.
Yeah, I would just say that it's been a long time coming, but it's very worth the wait when you get here to where we are today. So, and I appreciate everything y'all have done. Spencer, I've known for a long time. He's not that old, but I've known him for a while. So, but he used to help me on my farm, so we used to do work together. So, but I appreciate everything y'all have done.
So I'm embarrassed to say I don't have the parchment. It's down there?
It's right here.
Okay. Our attorney's down there looking for it. All right, let's go down
And if I could, Commissioner Starkey, just gentlemen, thank you very much for your service. Spencer, I knew you from before this got started, so you were an easy fix to jump onto this, and I appreciate your leadership to wanting to chair it and everything and all your work. So very important to all of us.
You know, I do
Thank
have
you.
2 pilots.
Let's hear from them.
So this is important.
Let's hear from them.
All right.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. You want to speak? Either one of you?
Well, it's been an interesting, a lot of months. Each month we were coming down here, and it's not all day long. He's been the main guy in charge of it as chairman for us, and he's done a great job for us too, and kept us together. And I think we hopefully did what we were supposed to do for Pasco.
I think you did a great job.
Keep it quieter if we can.
Okay. Spencer?
Anything else I can ask you?
We just want to thank Denise and Elizabeth, because without them, we wouldn't have been able to do this. They, I think they got a massive education, and it was great to work with everybody, and we thank you, and we're finally done. It's a long time coming, so thanks very much.
Thank you.
Great.
All right.
Well, Elizabeth's not here, but thank you, Elizabeth. Is she here? Oh, okay.
Oh, in the back. Yep.
I was we should invite them.
Okay. I think we should.
Yeah, I think
All right.
Elizabeth and Denise should come up.
Okay, folks, the phone first. And the text. Great, thank you all.
Thanks so much.
Have a good week.
And RS3?
Resolution number 23192, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, recommending and supporting Holiday, Florida, as a Florida Children's Initiative Zone. Whereas 26% of children growing up in a catchment area east of the US 19 corridor in the Holiday, Florida area experience poverty, have limited opportunity for upward mobility, remain low income as adults, and experience higher than average teen birth rates. And whereas 62% of families living in the Holiday catchment area are housing cost burdened, with 46% of the households considered asset limited income constrained employment, with many living paycheck to paycheck without a safety net. And whereas Metropolitan Ministries has been awarded a planning grant from the state of Florida to bring the Holiday community together to create a cohesive community plan to address the needs and barriers to upward mobility that is experienced by children in Holiday. And whereas Metropolitan Ministries' experience, presence in the community, facilities, and ability to leverage partners from all facets of the Holiday community make them uniquely situated to support the creation of a unified strategy to provide a new path forward for the children living in Holiday. And whereas lifting children out of poverty in Holiday must be supported by the actions and resource investments to improve infrastructure and provision of services within Pasco County, the state, and private sector. And whereas Metropolitan Ministries will apply for the Florida Children's Initiative designation on behalf of the Holiday community. This grant, started in 2006, was modeled after the Harlem Children's Zone and is defined by Florida Statute 409.147 to provide funding to assist disadvantaged areas within the state in creating a community-based service network that develops, coordinates, and provides quality education, accessible health care, youth development programs, opportunities for employment, and safe and affordable housing for children and families. And whereas the Florida Children's Initiative designation will help support the community of Holiday and address the critical needs of children and their families. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby supports Holiday as a Florida Children's Initiative Zone. Done and resolved in regular session with a quorum present and voting this 5th day of September 2023.
Move to approve.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We do have someone here from Metropolitan Ministries. This was this, yes, right there.
Is it? Oh, okay.
And
I
this
didn't think anyone was going to be here.
To move this initiative forward. So I just wanted you to speak about this today and let everyone know what this is going to do for us.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm Christine Long. I'm the Executive Vice President and Chief Programs Officer at Metropolitan Ministries, and I am honored to be here and thank you, first of all, for your support of our project in Holiday, Florida. We're well under construction. We're going to be serving the community even in a bigger and broader way. And the addition of this children's zone designation is going to bring even more resources, not just to the campus of Metropolitan Ministries, but to the neighboring community. I am super excited to get to know each resident in that neighborhood person by person, find out their needs, and work together with the other nonprofits in the community, the churches, the schools, the libraries, everyone who is in that neighborhood and community working together to really make a difference in the lives of these families. This would not have been possible without your support. We're looking forward to it. A lot of wonderful things happening in the Holiday community thanks to your generosity and support. So thank you.
Thank you.
And Commissioners, this brings up the point I made at our meeting a couple weeks ago. There are grants out there that we are not going for. This one has been out there since 2006. And we know we have communities in need. So we just need to be more aware of what our community can go after to help our citizens, in my opinion. All right, I'm happy to come. Oh, can you tell us the date of your big gala that's coming up?
Yes, we are going to have a celebration and lots of information about what we're doing in Pasco County, and that's going to be October 25th at Center Ice. So we'll kind of get some invites out to all of you.
That's my big tip. Pants and socks.
Commissioner Starkey, I'm glad you brought this forward, but I'd like to have our people in the county take a look and see if there's other areas too that may qualify. And if it creates more opportunities, we want to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and if you wouldn't mind, if you could email me the map of the neighborhoods that this is going to cover. They're all on the east side of 19, in that Elfers Holiday area. Nothing on the west side, but it's I'm very excited for what this can bring to that community.
Thank you. I will do that.
No,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right. Come down and we're going to go fast. Yes. We're running out.
Are we coming down?
We go down?
We'll just stand.
Stand up. Yeah.
Either way, I'm just trying to go fast because I can see we're running out of time.
Oh, we are.
And we haven't added.
We have all day.
We have Secretary. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you. I keep hearing all these good times.
RS4, please.
Resolution number 23189, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, recognizing Patriot Service Dogs and thanking them for their donation of an emotional support dog to the Pasco County Fire District team. Whereas Patriot Service Dogs, a non-for-profit organization, was founded in 2009 by Julie Sanderson and Susan Bolton and is based in Marion County. And whereas Patriot Service Dogs trains high-quality service dogs for veterans without charge to assist those veterans struggling with a range of issues, including PTSD, brain injuries, and mobility loss. And whereas in 2011, Patriot Service Dogs began the WOOF prison program at Lowell Correctional Facility, a program in which hundreds of female inmates have trained service dogs for military veterans. And whereas Patriot Service Dogs relies on volunteers to raise and train puppies for between 18 months to 2 years before the dogs begin their specialized training. And whereas in 2022, Patriot Service Dogs became an accredited member of Assistance Dogs International, a leading authority in the assistance dog industry, and won the Defender Service Award, which recognizes a charitable organization for extraordinary service work. And whereas Patriot Service Dogs values the life of each individual and works hard to improve the lives of veterans and help them with a sense of independence. And whereas Patriot Service Dogs has successfully placed over 50 dogs with veterans, and whereas Patriot Service Dogs donated an emotional support dog, Elvis, to the Pasco County Fire Rescue Team that will be able to give hope and build resiliency for the Pasco County Fire Rescue family. And whereas Elvis will assist in migrating negative symptoms will assist with mitigating negative symptoms and bring a positive memory to firefighters following a traumatic event, and will provide a catharsis for fire rescue personnel during post-incident stress diffusing. And whereas Elvis joined the Pasco County Fire Rescue on August 9th, 2023, where he has been benefiting the over 800 member team, and whose presence is appreciated and enjoyed. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby recognizes Patriot Service Dogs and thanks them for their donation of Elvis to the Pasco County Fire Rescue Team. Done and resolved in regular session with a quorum present and voting this 5th day of September 2023.
You have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'd like to say, I know this is under Commissioner Bradford, who wishes he was here today, but I do want to say I thank you very much for the great work you've done. Anything we do to help our firefighters is great, and obviously you've had the vision to see that all the way through, so we greatly appreciate you. And would you like to address the board?
I'm Julie Sanderson, and I'm the president of Patriot Service Dogs, and we're really proud. This isn't what Elvis started his life to be, but we're really proud that this is what he's going to end up doing. I think it's the perfect fit for him, so thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to do a picture?
Yep.
Quick.
Everyone coming up too?
Are we allowed to go down?
Yeah. Let's see. Go down there. Let's go down there. Okay, RS5, we're going to do title only.
Resolution number 23-191, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, commending Judith Koutzos for her dedication to the citizens of Pasco County.
Have a motion?
Approval.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and I'll be doing this, presenting at a special function coming up. Okay, now it's time for the consent agenda. I have three items.
Do we have a pull sheet? Do we have a pull sheet?
Pull sheet here.
Go ahead, Doc.
I don't have a pull sheet. Nope.
There's only three.
Are we not doing Judy?
We just did by title only. I'm
See her. Okay.
Yeah, I'm presenting at a
Thank you,
special
Eric.
event coming up. So the three items were to be pulled were going to be C42, C15, and I had pulled C17. Are there any other pulls from the county commission? Okay, can I have a motion for the remainder of the consent agenda?
Move to approve?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So go to C, by the way, I see Josh McCart. Josh, congratulations. Been a long time. We just actually approved a boat that's been a long time coming. It's going to serve the citizens of the Marine Academy coming up. So thank you for your dedication. It's been tricky going through this whole process, but it's going to be a great addition for the county. Thanks. So Andrew Baxter, C-15.
And we're repaving the bike trail and start this there.
Good morning, Commission. Andrew Baxter, Facilities Management Director. C-15 needs to be revised. File number FAC 230230, memorandum number FAC 231107 needs to be removed from the item files for this agenda item as it's a duplicate of FAC 230013 and incorrectly labeled. With that adjustment of removing that one file item, we recommend approval.
Okay.
Move approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We'll go to Adam Thomas next on C-42, then we'll go to C-17.
Good morning, Adam Thomas. C-42 is a pull and revised in the original attachment. The vendor listing was uploaded into the system as an Excel file. When the system converted the file into Excel, from an Excel to a PDF, it only saved the first page, including the vendor information in alphabetical order from A to H. So it's missing the rest of the vendor listing. The uploaded attachment 1 includes all the vendors that were originally intended to be covered under this item.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And C-17, I'm going to be supporting the motion, but I just want to have a little more discussion about the C-17. And just to everyone to know, from being here when the tennis stadium was being first discussed to going from that to the park, a lot of discussions, a lot of changes from the donation agreement that was done with this changing of the swap of the land, a lot to it. And we try to take a step every time, being as great as we can all the way through. And when we did approve the initial building of the indoor facility, it was known that we didn't have it all done, but we're going to try to get it done as quick as we could afterward. So it was like, it wasn't like we didn't do something we were supposed to do, it was like agreed to be done. So having said that, there was an item looking at section H on the property that we're going to be going right around. And Keith, can you get that diagram pulled up? Or Andrew? So I'm just going to show this to you because, again, we can't discuss things with each other, but I've sat down, I've met with, by the way, with Jeff and David, and I met to discuss all the agreements, the amendments, et cetera. I met with Keith, I met with Adam, I met with Mike, and, you know, I think we're going to do some great things here, but I just wanted to take a look that if you look at the map where was section H, I've got it elevated up there on the screen. So that's section H right there was supposed to be another field that was going to be for public play.
Yeah.
It's actually could be worked, and they're going to take a look at it over the next few days and work with Trius, that if we move the roadway, the trail that's there, it may be able to fit an extra field in there, possibly 2. At least 1, but possibly 2. And maybe we can move other parking to J, which could work better for that. So staff is going to look at that. They're going to work with Trius. As far as the funding, as I discussed from before, I wanted to take a look at all sources. I think Parks is looking at it real close. They may look at taking some of the trail money to go put it to it. They're going to come back with us with a full proposal. What's the best way to go? There's a certain amount of reserves we have. We can discuss the reserves as far as just, you know, getting a loan for the whole thing to keep our debt service down. So I'm comfortable with what we're doing, but I'm very concerned as far as how we take these next steps to make H the best it can be, if we do add it or not, or just build it around to create a potential for it. And then as we do the financing, let's take a close look at it with all the options that staff can bring back to us to what's the best way to fund the whole program. So with that, I'll move approval.
Can I ask you what you meant by trail money? What you're saying about the trail?
Whatever funding sources are available, whether it be trail money or anything else. I mean, it could be even landscaping grant money to offset the
use
cost.
other money to build the trail?
Yes.
What are you saying, Commissioner Oakley?
Commissioner Oakley.
Well, this is pulled to discuss. I didn't think it was something we're approving. This doesn't change anything.
No, it doesn't change anything else. It's just I'm just letting you know the discussions I've had because I can't talk to you guys. But these are some of the concerns I've had with it, and when they come back to us, I wanted them to be able to present the best project possible for us.
Yeah, I'm okay with them coming back and presenting something, but
Yeah, we're not changing
As long as
anything.
it doesn't
just
change what we're
Doesn't
doing.
change anything, they're just gonna have a chance to bring something to us. I didn't want to catch you flat-footed, that's all. Commissioner Wakeman.
Thank you. So Chair, you're exploring the opportunity of going from 5 fields to 7 fields.
To possibly 7, correct.
Sounds good.
Okay. And then again, then looking at all the funding, best mechanisms we can as well. And again, that'll come back to us, but away we go.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So at the last meeting, you approved an intention for staff to work on a funding source for this project, to go out on the street for a bank loan, bond, whatever. I think what the commissioner is saying is this project is funded. There's no changes to moving forward with this funding, with this project. However, the funding source, when we talk about taking a loan, he wants to have some more discussion about what's being funded with what. And so this item is, they're pulling from reserves, ultimately to be funded by either a bank loan or other sources of funding that the board decides as a policy decision later.
Which will be a combination of everything.
Right.
So we're just keeping all our,
Last week, last time, I mean, that's the same.
all our options are open.
Same point that we said last time was that there may be opportunities to fund some parts of this project from different
Other
funds.
funds. Correct. Yep. Okay.
So nothing's different. That's
Nothing's
all.
different, exactly. And we need to move forward because we have the construction, the bid's gonna expire if we don't do it, so we do have to act on it now. So I'm willing to hear a motion for approval.
Oakley made a motion.
I didn't make a motion,
I'll
but
move.
I'm not sure what we're really approving.
We'll just approve the agenda item in front of you.
You're approving the bid that was received to build this.
To build what we've already approved, right?
Exactly.
What you.
I'll move for that, or a second, yeah.
Second, okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you very much. So R44, Justin?
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board, Justin Ressler, Solid Waste Director. Item R44 is approval of the Waste Energy Design Build Agreement, Contingent Payments Agreement, and Service Agreement for the Waste Energy Expansion and Continued Facility Operation with Covanta Pasco Incorporated. The not-to-exceed price for the Design Build Agreement is $260 million, and the price for the 10-year term of the service agreement is $290 million in aggregate. So in 2019, the department presented this master plan to the board, and that master plan really focused on waste and energy and the benefits that it brings to the local community. There are no aesthetic impacts that are associated with the landfill, whether that's birds or odors and smell, using a waste and energy facility, and it extends the life of our site, which is really our most valuable resource when you're talking about waste management. So in February of 2020, the board authorized staff to negotiate with Covanta these agreements, which we have here to present to you today. And again, one thing that I want to highlight is that all these agreements fall within the range of our budget plan that we had approved this morning that we set forward in 2019. So it's a very positive thing. So a little bit about each of the 3 agreements. We will stay with the same pricing structure that we have with Covanta until the 4th boiler, which we're adding, comes online in 2026. At that point, we're going to get a 6.6% reduction in the overall price of the per ton cost. Right, so if you look at what we've saved over the term, with that 6.6% reduction, that's over $25 million. We're also going to get decreased in the amount we pay them per megawatt of electricity we generated due to some of the issues that we've had with the pricing of our power falling off of the long-term loop deal there. And we will fund some of our capital maintenance out of our CIP repairs, major repairs to the facility as they come on. Well, moving on to the design build agreement, has an overall not to exceed price of $260 million. One of the things that we tried to do to be flexible and keep bringing those costs down is that there's a shared band of funding in there. We require Covanta to detail out all the bids to their major subcontractors, right? So if they overrun that, they're locked into that $260 million cap. If they underrun it, some of that money can come back to the county, right? It's a 36-month construction timeline from when we release the notice to proceed to the commercial operations date, and there's significant financial penalties in there in the event that they're late or that they don't perform up to the standards of the project. One thing I do want to highlight is that I know that grant funding, federal funding, has been a big priority of the board. Happy to announce that we have found some for this project. So the waste energy plant qualifies as a green energy project under the Inflation Reduction Act, right? And there are certain things that you have to do to qualify for that. So you have to pay prevailing wage during a construction project, and you have to buy domestic materials. And those costs are significant. They're in excess of $10 million for a project like this. So what we did is when we worked with Covanta in the negotiations, they guaranteed to go out and take that risk, put that money up front in exchange for half of the funding that would come back to the county, right? So what does that mean? It means our net award in 2027, which we've secured with an insurance product, will be somewhere on the order of $20 million. With that, make the recommendation that the board approve the fourth amended and restated service agreement, the design build agreement for waste energy facility expansion, and the contingent payments agreement between Covanta Pasco and Pasco County.
Okay. Justin, I'll say approval. Do you have a motion?
Second.
And just a little discussion. Now, Justin, this is a phenomenal contract you've negotiated. It's been a long-term plan for us to expand this for many, many years for all the great reasons you've cited and the extra work you've taken to make sure we're going to get all the revenues back we can and negotiate down. I think you've done a phenomenal job with it, so thank you.
I just want to say thank you to Joe Richards and the county attorney's office who really did the heavy lifting on this thing getting across the line. So it was a true team effort.
Great work. All in favor, say aye.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to, if I may, I just want to compliment Justin and his team and partners with the county attorney's office. This is a complex deal, and they come in and they make it look easy, but this has been 4 years worth of negotiations, many ups and downs, and there were some parts and times when we didn't think we were going to get there. But hats off too to our partner with Covanta as well. This is truly a team effort, as Justin says, but my compliments to you, Justin, and the infrastructure team for getting it here.
Yeah, great work. Great work, team. All right. Commissioner Wakeman.
Sure, thank you. Just one comment. So the new power provider that we're working with is TECO?
So we brought an original power purchase agreement to the board. I believe it was early this year for execution and approval. When that power contract went to the Public Service Commission, it was not approved in its entirety. So we have repackaged that and we're bringing it back to the board at the next meeting.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it will be with Tampa Electric if the board passes that.
Well, we know a guy.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you very much. And miscellaneous business, District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Hey, I think I have something that developed during public comment. So I guess, Mr. Cabal, I'd like to ask that we come together or something with our engineers or whoever for Watergrass and have some answers that are more concrete than we've been given, so we all know how the traffic's going to flow. Because as far as I know, and I told them this morning, that traffic, when overpass came from the interstate across, it was always supposed to come, but I never heard when they were going to do that section of road that turns back to the north and meets up with Fairview Heights Road, that continues out to across Fort King to Cossack Road and hits 301. Because until that's done, we have real issue through that neighborhood, and people are screaming about it. Some of the issues they're screaming about has to deal with their own HOA with the golf carts and things of that nature. Unless they put those trails in as a HOA and do those things the right way, that's on them. That's not on us. But the road and the traffic through there, and try not to tear all that road up in there at the same time. There's a lot of traffic been moving. We did do the ordinance to no through trucks for now, so I don't know how that's working, but we need to do everything we can to get a resolution in there that will satisfy those citizens along that way. Some of them, I'm sure, didn't even know that overpass actually went all the way through there to meet up with Fairview Heights. So, but I think it's been in the long-term vision, but the
yes,
vision's jumped 10 years or so, I think, because it's on us.
Yeah, I think we were probably looking for a developer in-kind project going on out there, but we'll talk with the team, figure out what the challenges are, and then we'll see how we tackle them.
Okay. Just, I mean, if you will, let the board know. So.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's all I've got.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Waitman?
Just echo Commissioner Oakley's sentiments there with folks coming out of Western Chapel and trying to get up through the schools, and it's just, it backs up, you know, west all the way to Old Pasco through there. So whatever relief we can get there, be fantastic. And outside of that, don't have anything going on. Just had a baby.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Starkey.
Yeah, I actually don't have much either, but I just want to thank our staff for all their hard work during our hurricane. And we dodged, not all of us, but many of us didn't fare as badly as I thought we would. I literally, for the third time now, pretty much emptied out my house in Gulf Harbors. A good portion of it's in my car right now, and in my garage at my other house. So we just, for the most part, are quite lucky. And I feel for our friends on the river and in the northern part of the county that did suffer damage. And I want to thank all our first responders and all our staff for their hard work. This is a sign that I was just up in Connecticut meeting my new granddaughter, and my husband actually saw this picture and sent it to me. So I thought this was kind of cool, and maybe something that we could replicate here in the county. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. And then I had one more thing. I've been sitting here looking for photos.
Commissioner Starkey, can we talk about that just for a second?
Sure.
So the panhandling thing would be difficult, but I think transacting business in a safety area might be a bit of verbiage.
We need.
And to word it where it's illegal not only for the people receiving, but the people giving.
Yeah.
And if we need to put a few of those up, maybe it works, because I'll tell you, the panhandle is still out everywhere.
Oh, still out everywhere. I agree.
It's sad. We've got a great ordinance that can work, and we can't get it fixed.
Yeah.
But
We've had a woman at the Mitchell Ranch Plaza in a wheelchair out there for days, on 54 and the entrance going in to the stores. So one last thing, and I was looking here for a good picture, and I'm usually on the phone when I'm driving here and can't switch real quick to take a photo. But I'm very concerned about the Kogan grass and the fields on the sides of 52. I'm seeing it spread to places where it hasn't been before, but we have got to have a policy where when, say, Pasco Town Center or the Central Pasco Employment Village, especially, that's covered with Kogan, they have to deal with that when they clear it. And I think the way they do it is put in a pile and burn it, but I'm not sure. But what happens is they clear off the top, and then they use that as fill for somewhere, and then it just spreads. That's how we brought it into Aristida. We put it in the berms behind a house, and now it's all over Aristida. I say we, the developer, brought it in, and the homeowner, when we saw what it was, the homeowner would not let anyone come in and spray it, so it just continuously got mowed. Now it's in the wetlands, now it's down in the public areas. So we must not let development spread it, and then we have our own issues with the state's land on 52, where it's all over the right-of-ways.
Yeah, we've put some money in the budget to address areas, but I hear what you're saying with the development. Let me talk with Development Services and County Attorney's Office to see what
I think
what
we
we can
need
do about
some
that.
kind of ordinance to say you cannot, how you have to deal with when you're clearing your land with an invasive species, especially one of the most invasive in the world.
Chairman?
Yeah.
Mr. Wickman.
Thank you. I recall when we talked about this early on in the year that the staff was putting together some BMPs and going to address our right-of-way mowing contractors, and
Yeah, those things on our side of the house we're taking care of, and we've put money in the budget for eradication in some of our areas. But to the commissioner's point, as it spreads, right, then it becomes the county's problem, so you want to stop it at the source. And so I would need to research and see how we, you know, if that's something you do at the site development plan stage. I don't know. There's probably some land development rules that we have to, you know, consider with that, but we'll take it for action and report back to the board here shortly. I've got it for action.
I kind of thought that was inferred in our last conversation.
No, we never did anything for the on the private side. And I know that Swift Mud, because I've dealt with them on their property with Kogan, they don't have it. They take care of it right away because they don't want it to spread into their land. So they eradicate it right away. But I'm telling you, it'll be a huge nightmare if we don't get it. I think I see it in the entrance features to Marada.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. And the only, I did find one thing that does eat it, pigs. Pigs like to eat the roots of it. So, you know how you get goats to eat kudzu?
But not the sharp pigs, no. Not the
We
sharp
could
edges.
move pigs around. But that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay. And County Administrator.
Actually, if you'll indulge me for just a couple of minutes, I did want to talk a little bit about the hurricane that we just went through. I just want to thank the team and our constitutional partners. We've got some photos here of some of the response that went on, but things went very well. I think even Andy Fossa had mentioned that this was probably one of the smoothest operations that we did have. I also want to thank a lot of our legislators at the state, local, and federal level that came down both to tour both prior and after, and also to help support Pasco's declaration at the federal level. We were declared. We had Cat A and the individual assistance, so that's big for us in terms of our citizens being able to get compensation for damage, as well as the public assistance side to make sure that our general fund and our budgets are unaffected by that. So well done on that. FEMA is deployed now, and they are setting up support throughout the county to support our citizens. As far as the recovery goes, that's ongoing. I did extend the local state of emergency, and we'll probably continue to do that on a weekly basis until we're done expending funds. It's a necessary item in order to seek reimbursement. To date, our solid waste and public works teams were out, collected over 400 tons of storm-related debris thus far. We have waived tipping fees. I think I've mentioned that before, through September 11th to help our citizens that are cleaning their things out and trying to bring stuff in. Our emergency management team is deployed. They're up in Suwannee County, so they were actually requested by that local government in order to support them, and we're proud of them for answering the call. And then finally, I'd just like our building construction services, right? Folks need to rebuild, so we're looking into, actually we're waiving fees for certain types of damage and getting folks back on their feet quicker. We've extended our service hours and actually have some exclusive hours both at the end of the working day and over the weekends for those specifically impacted by the storm, so we can help get their questions answered and get them on their way. And actually even looking so far as to having team members at home improvement stores on weekends too, to be able to answer questions. So our BCS team is reaching out, trying to make recovery as simple as possible. And that's really all I have. Just wanted to update the board on those things.
Mr. Starkey.
I'm concerned about the amount of people that did not evacuate.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, we were lucky that we didn't have loss of life. If this had turned just a little bit, it could have been far more serious. And once again, we have people that don't evacuate, and then our first responders have to go out, and it's dangerous for them. Look at the houses that were burned. They should have had their power turned off. I just wonder if we can, just keep working on messaging.
Yeah, we continue to message. We continue to push out through the various platforms. I don't think what you saw here in Pasco was necessarily an anomaly to anywhere else in the state of Florida. People tend to think that it won't happen. And I think when you saw a lot of the water rescues that were going on, in the early morning hours after the storm had passed to the north, I think when that water started coming in, you had a lot of scared people. I think Chief Perez told me the number was upwards of over 150 folks that decided that was the time they needed to evacuate. And I'm glad we got them out and got them to safety. But to your point, had that storm wobbled, like we see a lot of storms wobble, to that right, that it could have been, collecting fatalities, which we don't want to do.
And I don't think it hit us at high tide like we thought it was going to.
Correct.
And what's really disturbing to me when I look at all the pictures here and online is it's a lot of our elderly population who wouldn't have had a prayer to be able to swim out or, So I just would love to see if there's, come up with a plan, something more we can do. And I have no doubt, I don't know if those were mobile homes or not, but salt water in a mobile home, that's not gonna be rebuildable. And so a lot of people probably lost their housing in a time when, how you can find more housing? So it just puts more responsibility on us to get some housing up there that will be affordable. How did Arapika do? I didn't even hear anything on Arapika.
I don't have, pretty much a lot of the damage that we saw was up in that Hudson Beach area and then a little bit to the south. That was where the majority of the flooding, the inundation.
And the river.
And the river areas, of course, yes.
They were not prepared for that on the river.
I'll say the evacuation is something that we definitely need to address. And I talked about this when we get back from Hurricane Ian, watching everything under the base flood of LSU was completely wiped out. If this storm had hit us at 7 to 9 feet as originally projected, we would have just had seen devastation everywhere. Now, what happened during some of the forecasting from talking to people, again, I'm trying to talk to different people, why they didn't go, why they think that people didn't go. Some people heard there was only going to be like a foot of storm surge on different things. And I think partially...
I heard that at the hair beauty salon.
Okay, I think partially people are hearing, oh, it's only a foot, I'm good. And when you look at what they actually projected for the changing of the way they're forecasting and predicting it, they're changing the formula. Now, I don't know the specifics to exactly how, but 1 foot of what they were calling for surge is actually 4 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So those numbers gave people comfort. And I was very cautious, as much as I had talked before about shutting the water system down, up and down. I didn't get to the electric component of it till the day of the EOC meeting with Senator Scott and all, but when you look at what could have happened with that data that goes out there, we need to address not only us locally, what we're telling people, but we need to look and see what else is being told on the outside, because it kept people, I think, home. Going to better detail with it as well, I think we need to have a meeting, maybe next meeting, make it an agenda item. Let's go talk about what it would take to be able to shut the water down up and down the coast, for evacuation zone A, and what it would take as far as shutting the electricity down. And as much as, our first responders, we don't want them in danger. The sheriff's office, our first fire EMS team out there did a phenomenal job, but they shouldn't be in that danger. You saw one of the pictures there with the firefighters shooting the water. Well, the water's already gone, the fire's already happened. What do we do other than protect it from getting any worse? But it would be so much better if electricity wasn't there, mixing the water, making these things go off. And we still don't know what the causes of, but we need to find a way to shut the water off, shut the electricity off, and notify people we're going to do that. Now, the biggest issue with that's going to increase dramatically the amount of people are going to want to evacuate or have to evacuate because they don't bother. So I think what we need to do is, and schools are set up for this, for the most part, they're hardened. But we don't want to put too much burden because we want everybody able to get back to their homes the next day, as well as the schools to open up as soon as they can as well. So I think if we set up a plan where you're going to evacuate, you're going to lose water and electricity, it's going to make them go, we're pet friendly, and at one point 5A high school actually had more pets than people. It balanced out, it did, it balanced out, but that was good. It lets people know they can bring their pets, because that used to be a big issue, and we've overcame that. But if we're going to do that, we've got to go take a look at, if you're going to go to the school, you got to bring your own cooler for your own food. You got to bring whatever, for whatever food, drink you need, just for that 8-hour period of time when that storm's coming in, right? You go there, you have your own sleeping blanket, sleeping bag, whatever it may be, that you can just like lay out and just know it's only 8 hours. As soon as the storm passes, now you're free to go back home and hopefully find out what's there. Those that get stuck in a bigger situation, We'll use the hurricane, Fasano Hurricane Shelter, and we could even be set up to use the Wiregrass Ranch for evacuation for people that, let's say the home is damaged, let's say a 9-foot storm does come, that we can overcome that. But we need to get people back in their homes as quick as possible. We need everything safe. We need to protect the first responders that are out there. We don't need to go through this whole thing of what happens if, and let's face it, we got lucky with no loss of life. I don't want to be a Lee County. I don't want to have this situation. Had this storm turned right, or even stayed its regular course, we would have been devastated. And and the storms can switch one way to the other, so I think we need to go look at it. I know one was afraid of that conversation before, but from what we just saw, I think we got a bigger fear of like having someone have a house burnt down inside with it, or even a first responder going out there. Maybe some type of wave action comes in and takes a first responder out as well. We don't need to go down that road.
Yeah.
Commissioner Starkey.
I'm wondering if we could use and maybe we already do, and I just haven't noticed it. You know the Silver Alert, or whatever it is, the system that the state has for abducted children, or someone with senior with Alzheimer's who's lost, and they have those signs on the highway. I think we have them on 19, and you get it on your phone. But I'm wondering if we could use that system to alert that mandatory evacuation zone A, tides expected to be, or water expected to be this level. And we could also put those signs that we put up, like the road closures, the flashing sign, in areas that could seriously be affected. I mean, put more messaging out there.
So I will say this, all great points. With regards to what you're talking about, Commissioner, we talk about connecting with people. When we sent out, it was an Everbridge blast, I think, regarding evacuations or something, we actually had more interest on that. So there's some points, and obviously a balancing act before you pull those triggers. I would like to take some time before I bring something back to the board. Next board meeting is probably too close. Would like to do some after-action reports, both with our emergency management staff and our partners. And I think maybe then we can kind of present to you kind of some lessons learned, and if we want to look at ways to encourage evacuations, is what I'm hearing. But also, make sure that things are good and safe for recovery, so we can speed things back. All for it, and know that our team is all for that stuff. So we'll take all that into account.
And I would look to participate in that after activation meeting as well. I think, again, my district, the whole coast of it was affected dramatically by it. Mr. Starkey.
Something that's very important, I think, for citizens to feel comfortable evacuating is to make sure that there's no looting that's going to go on. Because that's a reason why a lot of people won't leave. And look at the shameful people that were out there robbing someone with a truck. So I hope they go to jail for a long time. Commissioner Wakeman.
Yeah, so, and just to touch on that real quick. So if you think about it, you can either have your whole arsenal of people, and Mike, it was quite a scene at Sea Ranch, all the people are out there, all the trucks are out there, all the vehicles everywhere. It would be so much better if we had them segmented to go from position A to position B, guarding them, instead of having to go in there and rescue people, rather than guarding people from the get-go. And we know that if the evacuation has been ordered, other than people coming out of there, nobody should be going in there.
Exactly.
And it'd be a lot easier to monitor if we have that type of setup. I mean, it's still gonna be a big operation, but it's a lot better than rescue.
A lot of factors to balance, but
Yeah,
understood.
and again, that's why it's good to get all the conversations. I mean, when we talked about doing the electricity and the water, there was like a big pushback about getting that done. And at that moment, it was probably tough to do it, but if you do it in advance, it could possibly work. Commissioner Wakeman.
Yeah, just a comment. Whenever the sheriff's department sends out a text, is that just the sheriff function, or is that county emergency management? Because there'll be a text, if something weird's going on in your area, there's a text and then a follow-up with a 727 phone number from the county. I don't know if that's a sheriff's office action or a county action.
We have
our own
but
system.
The
I'm
text
not
is very
yeah.
effective. So
yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. And that to your point, that was actually pretty effective when we sent those blasts out. We actually got more phone calls into customer service as a result of that. So again, we want to be judicious about when we send those blasts. I don't know what the sheriff has in particular, but yes.
Yeah, I just didn't know whose text line that was, because typically in an emergency situation, but I thought those texts were very effective.
I assume we use it for this type
We
of
do.
situation.
Yes, we do.
Alex, you want to come up and address it?
While Alex is coming up, I will say, listening to the different national news channels, we got a lot of comments on all the toys our sheriff has. They were very complimentary of the tools our county has to help.
Yes, ma'am. So to your question, Commissioner, I'll have to see the text you're talking about. Most of what we put out is going to be on our social media platforms and our news website. So we'll tell people to go onto Facebook or onto Twitter if they can. And everything that we're getting, that we're updating as we go, that's where it's getting put first.
Yeah, I'm not saying, I didn't know who the text came from. When I've seen it, it just says, it's basically an emergency situation. I didn't know who was responsible for sending that out. Either way, I think it's a great tool, and it's an inexpensive tool, so.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I think, to the county administrator's point, I think there's an alert system that goes out through the county emergency management as well. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And Alex, the sheriff's team working with fire EMS was phenomenal. They're doing the evacuations. We definitely want to have you guys part of what we're doing in the future to try to prevent having to go through all that, too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That picture of the sheriff holding, James Mallow sent it out, I don't know if you saw it, holding, helping a woman, elderly woman evacuate. That was priceless. I think I saw one with the chief as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so because we had seen a lot of the flooding all in Hudson, and that entire morning the sheriff and all our folks were out there. Anyone we can get out of their house and get them out and get them to safety, we were doing that. So happy to do it. Thank you
so much.
Yeah, thank you. County Attorney.
Public comment this morning, the first one about the demolition order. My office has reviewed it, as has the building department. I will say that let me just say, there are minimum standard violations, there's unsafe plumbing, there is unsafe electrical. The gentleman purchased the property knowing that demo order was, or should have known that demo order was in place. It's not our recommendation that you, at this time, rescind the demo order that was recorded and in place when he purchased the property.
I'll say I did meet with your team about it, and it wasn't. There are issues that are extra that are out there. So as it was relayed to us, to what the team felt about and the ramifications of other things coming up, it could really mess up the way we're doing it. So
it is not cosmetic as was represented to me this morning.
Right, and from what they said, and I just want to make sure it was, and they assured me that there was more to it. So I'm comfortable with just going forward with it the way it's set.
Yeah. The neighborhood will be very happy to have that problem child out. Then we need to get a house built on it that will improve it.
Yeah, but I think we made the right time to take an extra look at it. But again, I knew staff had looked at it. I thought they would have referred the information already, but maybe just not clear enough. But I'm comfortable with everything I saw too.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
And Mr. Clerk?
Nothing from the clerk's office.
Okay. I've got a picture of Hudson Beach. I just wanted to show it to you. We talk about tourism up around the county and the coast. People, the number 1 and 2 reasons people come to Florida, beaches and fishing. This is Hudson Beach, this is the part where the swimming area is, where they see the buoys right there. That's where people are supposed to go in and swim. This past year, we had a lot of the water going down in the canal. We put it up on the beach. Before the storm hit, this thing had eroded over the past few months just the way this is. We had gone to the state with a program to put a seawall up, grant funding to go run along the seawall, running it up around, creating a beach all the way around it, keeping everybody out of the canal, protecting the canal from the erosion going in. We had it through the House and Senate, got vetoed through the governor's office. When Hurricane Ian and the money we had put in the previous year didn't get funded through the sprinkle, this past year no one picked it up. And as much as, we've just gone through, and these are people that come in from out of town, that are going up and down to look at the sunset coming in. People come from all over, they want to go see Hudson Beach, and when they get there, from what they can see, you can see it's a bit of a disappointment. We've got a plan in place we can go through. To design the plan is going to be $250,000. To build it, the estimate is going to be around $2 million. But I think it's something we need to go do. If we can get reliance from the outside after we put the design in place, we know what the cost's going to be, so be it. But if we're going to spend $25 million for complexes on the east side, I'm telling you, the people on this side here that have contributed for all these years haven't got any capital money back in. I think it's something we need to bring back and take a look at. Again, this is Hudson Beach, where you got two fantastic restaurants right there, another bar down the street that people want to come down here to see what's going on there, to see the sunset. And wouldn't it be nicer if they saw a nice white sandy beach, kind of like the way they improved Rogers Park? We could do the same thing here. We could provide better swimming opportunities, better beach opportunities, which is all better for tourism. And if we do have those 10 little boat ramps on both stalls along the side where the pavilion is, that it creates better for scalping season as well. So,
Commissioner?
Mr. Stark.
If you look at the list I sent you of the county by county allocations, there are okay, here's one. Brevard County, South Beach Dune Restoration. It's under the beach project. They got $1.8 million, and there is no Senate form after it. So it's some kind of grant that the state gives out for beach projects. Why don't we apply for a beach project grant?
So what we need to do is you need to do the environmental studies and all the studies before you have a plan in place. You gotta have a shovel-ready type project to go. So that's why I asked you for the 250 to get started and do the design. If you do the design, you get a plan to go forward, you get the permitting in place.
Can we do it for all our beaches? I mean, what we have, Green Key, we have this one. Can we just plan to, because if we have a design in place, then we can be part of this beach grant money for the state that's going to all these other counties. Why are we doing it for all our beaches?
I am fine to put Green Key in the mix too. I mean, I've actually asked for that to be put in between the roads and the other improvements down that whole area. So if you want to put Green Key in it, that's fine too.
I mean, other counties are getting this money.
100% support it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Mike, maybe Keith can bring something back to us when we get together rolling? Okay. All right, and that's all I had. I wanted to say, again, a shout out to our team for emergency management. They were phenomenal, and they're so well thought of. I mean, from we had Kevin Guthrie here from when he came in years ago, how we elevated that whole program and trained people to get better. Like Andy Foster now, he's the expert. When Suwannee County, that's where Live Oak was, where the president just went, hardest hit, they wanted our team up there. That's a huge, huge compliment. That's premier. So we'll break for lunch and we'll be back at 1:20 for the MPO?
1:20.
1:20 for the MPO.
Remind you to 1:20.
Okay.
Yeah, and Secretary Quinn will be here at 1:20.
Okay. All right, see you at 1:20.
So Jack, that is plan, not